Hi everyone. Melodic dictation is one of the common oral exam or test questions and assesses two main abilities: the ability to accurately notate the rhythm of an excerpt and the ability to accurately transcribe the melodic contour or notes of an excerpt. The following tips mainly focus on transcribing the notes, as rhythmic dictation for many is the easier of the two abilities. Because most all melodies are composed using a mixture of stepwise scale motion and leaps, these are the two elements which you should listen out for. Rather than simply using an interval chain approach where you try to hear the melody as a series of intervals from beginning to end, try to hear the entire excerpt as a series of scale passages and leaps forming common note groupings such as arpeggios, and leaps which connect scale passages and arpeggios. A mixture of both approaches is typically more effective than solely using the interval chain approach, as an incorrect interval in the chain can throw out the rest of the passage. Following on from the last tip, locate the beginnings and endings of scale passages. Often there is an ascent or descent from the initial note of an excerpt and an ascent or descent to the final note. The final note of these types of examples is often the tonic, as is the opening note. These notes can act as a reference for the rest of the excerpt, especially as in the previous tip when scale passages move to them or from them. Listen for repeated notes in the same register and in different registers. Listen for repeated note groups and rhythms, for example if there are any motifs present or notes used sequentially. Listen for note connections between the bars. Are they by step, by leap, or are notes tied? Do leaps form triads or seventh chords or other common note groups such as changing note patterns? If the excerpt is tonal, it will typically be based on a functional progression. Determining this can assist with note identification. Remember, however, that depending on the level or grade at which the test is taken, the difficulty of the excerpt may range from a simple diatonic melody with an underlying functional progression to more chromatic and even atonal melodies without a typical progression. Therefore, past papers should be checked before a test is undertaken to establish what to expect. In minor key excerpts, typically the leading note will be raised when a dominant or leading note chord moves cadentially and when an ascending and sometimes descending passage is used. When the 7th degree is raised as part of a scale passage, typically the 6th degree is also raised to avoid the augmented second between these degrees. Following on from the last tip, if your transcription of a tonal excerpt contains augmented or diminished intervals, it is probably incorrect, as these intervals are typically not allowed. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.